Welcome to Highland Waves, a podcast originating from Marshbrook Studios, located on a bank of the Margaree River in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada. At Highland Waves, we feature stories about the people, the places, and the visitors to Inverness County. I'm Pat Wall, your host. This morning, I'm pleased to introduce to the studio Mr. Chris O'Hara. Welcome to Highland Waves, Chris.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you having me here.
Not at all. Chris, with his wife Adona, are founders and operators of the relatively new Café Les Suetes, situated right beside the Cabot Trail in Grand Etang, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Chris O'Hara is not a common name in this part of the country. You must have started life somewhere else.
I did. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario.
Okay.
Lived there for about 20 years and then moved to Toronto after college to start my career.
Okay. What about Adona?
Adoni is actually from the another name that's not common around here.
No, it is.
She's from Rhode Island. Grew up down that way.
Where?
Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode Island.
Yeah,
okay.
in Pawtucket. And then used to come up here a lot to visit her aunt who lives over in Bay St. Lawrence. And then so just over the years came here for summers, things like that. So
okay, so that's what brought you to Grand Etang.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It was. We were looking for places to move when we were ready to leave Toronto, and it was just nice to have a bit of support staff here. Adoni's got some friends in Halifax as well.
Okay. When did you and your wife get involved in the food business?
Just when we opened about a year and a half ago, or well, geez, it's only been a year now.
Okay.
We knew we wanted to do something when we left Toronto to work for ourselves. We just weren't sure what it was going to be. We'd tossed around the idea of a food truck. Honestly, drove a couple of used food trucks, and they were seemed like a bit dangerous to be driving around the mountains and stuff. So we decided that realistically, for the price of a new food truck, which is $100,000, we can buy a house around here for that and convert it. So that was our focus. Yeah.
Okay.
It's changed now, but back 6 years ago when I had the idea, it made more sense. So.
Okay. Do you both have formal training in the food industry?
Nothing. I mean, I wouldn't say formal. I used to work at some restaurants when I was going to college.
Okay.
And I have taken some culinary classes at George Brown, which is like a what's it called, a university in Toronto.
Yes.
Just for fun. Maybe 7 or 8 of those classes, not for accreditation or anything like that.
Okay. Do you have a specialty area, either one of you?
I think I just know how to cook a lot of Italian food, simply based on the fact that I love it.
Okay.
But it's not like we even feature all of that right now at the cafe, but we're hoping to change that moving forward.
Yeah. Is Les Suetes your first cafe?
It is, absolutely, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
First business we've owned on our own.
Oh, okay. Well, where did the idea come from?
We've always been, it's one of those cases where your friends have always tell you you're a good cook and stuff, and I've always had sort of that, I guess, desire when I was a kid. What I'm going to do, I'm going to own a couple of restaurants kind of thing, right? And then, life gets in the way and you start doing other things, and we finally had an opportunity. I had worked in advertising for about 21 years and just had enough of it, did a lot of great things, had a lot of fun, but just was tired of it. So we decided to move and said, okay, we're going to set up shop for ourselves. We might as well cook because we know how to do that. So.
Okay. When did you open?
We opened up, it would have been July 3rd, 2023, so just about 14 months ago.
Okay. The name of your cafe is Café Les Suetes. It fits well, and the reason I say that is for those listeners who do not know of the location where Café Les Suetes is located, is because at times the winds coming off the Cape Breton Highlands can exceed over 225 kilometers an hour. So you better make sure you're anchored if you're going to be in that area.
Absolutely. We used to always joke with that we should have a promotion when the Suetes are happening, and decided not to because it's kind of dangerous to come out, and we have to move all of our outdoor seating to one side of the building, or else it'll blow away. So.
Have you had any negative effects from the winds since you've been there?
No, the only 2 things that really happened, our door blew off one time out back, but that was in our personal house, not even in the cafe. But I think people gave us enough warning to put your stuff away and make sure you look after your things, or else they're gone.
Yeah. You have a great location.
Thank you.
You're central for the local population and very convenient for tourists as they travel right by your door on the Cabot Trail. Are tourists a significant part of your business?
Absolutely. I mean, we're winding down now from the high season, where we see probably 70-80% of our volume is through tourism. But again, we also have great support from the locals as well. I mean, that's what keeps us running all year long, because the tourists do start going away once the leaves fall.
Okay. Yeah, that was my next question, as to how and what kind of support you're getting from the community. So it sounds like that's going fairly well.
Oh, absolutely. We get lots of feedback from things they'd be interested in seeing on the menu. But yeah, no, everybody's been great. I mean, our first 2 months that we were open was ridiculous. I mean, it was and being fantastic support. Everybody came out. We obviously don't expect anybody to come out, but we do appreciate it when people do, for sure.
How do you market your cafe?
Mostly through social media and some web-based advertising. We haven't spent a ton on traditional things like radio and TV, radio print ads, which is kind of odd with my background. It really comes down to money. For small businesses, it can be, while it's a super vital, important thing, we tend to just go with some more of the low-cost avenues right now, things like Facebook ads, those sort of things, Instagram, just because it's lower cost for us. So,
okay.
Yeah.
In winter is another area that things will change for you, I'm sure. And it's there's another popular activity in the area, and that's snowmobiling, and brings in a lot of tourists as well. There was a restaurant 20 kilometers from you that really was catering to the snowmobilers. Have you considered concentrating some of your marketing on that area? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're referring to the Dancing Goat. They do a great job. They're right there on the trails. We have recently, just towards the end of last season, had some people from the Highland Wheel Club put some signs up for us, which was great. It was nice, and they just did it, just to sort of help out their club as well, so they know there's places to eat and drink and use the washroom on the site. So we're just off the 905 trail, if any of your listeners are familiar with that. And there's signs marked up with some red arrows on them, so people can understand how to get off the trails and come down to our place. So
okay,
yeah.
So you've started the marketing trend in that regard.
Correct.
When I talked about a restaurant that was there, the Big Inverville Salmon Camp, of course.
Oh yes, of course.
Just closed just recently.
Yeah, they did.
So this winter, you'll probably see the effects of that.
Yeah, that was a really interesting spot. It was actually one of the first places that Adonis and I stayed at when we were here looking for for homes. Yeah, we got here, we lived over in Bay St. Lawrence with Adonis' family, but came over here to start checking out properties, and we needed a place to stay because we had viewings across 2 days, and of course we were late on everything, so there was nothing available. And then we ended up staying out there and met them and had a great conversation. They're fantastic. Yeah. So
yes.
Even just talking to them for the 2 or 3 hours we were there, it just gave us a lot of information on sort of how to focus things and how to set some things up. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
They did a good job. They were here for over 20 years, I think.
Absolutely.
With that place running up there. I mean, it was really at the end of the road.
It literally is. We got lost going there the first time. And there's, a classic sign, I think, now that says, don't follow your GPS, because that's what, when you're new here, that's what people do, right? So, we ended down a goat path for sure.
Do you have space to grow your own food in where you are now?
Yeah, I think we're looking to develop a bit of the upstairs right now. It's primarily used for storage, but there are a few bedrooms up there. We're trying to probably convert 1 or 2 of those into more casual seating spaces. So everything we have right now is a traditional, cafe table chair sort of thing. But we'd love to have more of a quiet sort of, sit down area, maybe some books. One of the things that I'm a fan of is reading and things like that. So we'd love to bring some books into the cafe, things like that. But yeah, more relaxed space. But we'll see how that goes over the winter. It all comes down to money and time. So
of course. It seems food prices continue to rise. That must be a real challenge for you.
Absolutely. I mean, we're constantly updating our. We've got a big giant price sheet that we put together, and we're just always kind of concentrating on that to make sure our food costs are the same. A couple things we've found to combat that: we grow a lot of our own food in our garden out back.
Good.
So for probably for about 3 or 4 months, we can use our strawberries and raspberries, things like that, in our smoothies and for baked goods. So that's fantastic. And this year we really focused on growing lettuces, tomatoes, things like that we can use in the business, cucumbers, and we'll just keep evolving that. And we've also just a new vendor that we've been dealing with is Front Porch Farms, and buying some stuff from them. So again, getting some great local produce from here in Marguerite, and that keeps your costs down as well. So
of course,
yeah,
and helps the community as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. What are the challenges in terms of the availability of products that you need to do what you do?
It is. I mean, it seems like it's an odd thing to say, but one of the hardest things to source is good bread. And it sounds odd because we've got a fantastic bakery in town and they make great things. But I mean, we've spoke to Justin and his wife and gone through all that stuff. But they've got a lot of things on the go already. They're busy, right? So we source a lot of our bread from Cisco, which is just your typical, big restaurant supply company. But yeah, it's just, you got to look around. So, and more recently, we just started again, focusing on trying to move more things to local where we could. So that includes buying more and more stuff from our local co-op in Luen and working with Joey there to do that. So just really trying to, if we're going to be taking money in from this area, let's make sure we put as much money back in this area as we can.
Well, that's great. What services do you provide in your cafe?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're primarily dine-in seating. We have done a few sort of catering events where people have to pick the food up themselves. It all changes with insurance rules and things like that. But if people are fine, we can cater events if they're fine picking things up. But primarily we do our cafe service. We also offer private dinners, so groups of 8 to 10 people can book an evening, and we have menus online that people can see. The idea there is more like a fixed price menu. We'll tell you what we've got 5 or 6 different menu options to choose from. Maybe it's $50, $60, $70 all inclusive. It all sort of depends. And that's just something you can enjoy, whether it's a small party for Christmas time or just even friends getting together, things like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are licensed as well for liquor?
We are. We got that just this March, I think, is when we got
nice.
that. Yeah.
Okay. All types, like wine and...
Yep, full service, exactly, yep. Again, that's really going to help us, we think, in the off-season. We don't sell a lot of it in the summertime to tourists. I think just with changing trends, people are consuming less alcohol, things like that.
They're driving as well.
Solid point, very solid point, Pat. I don't know why that never crossed my mind. But but we think it'll definitely help us in the off-season. Just an opportunity to offer cocktails. I mentioned we're doing private dinners before, but we're really trying to sort of change our business and morph our business into doing more regular dinner services. So if you want to come in on a Friday night at 7 o'clock, great. You can have a table for 2. Somebody else might come in at 7:15, et cetera, et cetera. Just start doing more traditional meal service. And that's what we got in this business to do. Sandwiches and stuff are great, but it's not where we really want to be ultimately at the end of the day. Yeah.
It's more of a challenge as well, and it's
100%.
And more flexible, and you have more to offer in that sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Is all the food you serve homemade?
It is. I mean, outside of the bread, because we bring that in, everything else we make ourselves. So our hummus we make, all of our pickled vegetables we make ourselves. Again, a lot of them are grown in our garden, which is also fantastic. So, but yeah, we try to make as much stuff as we can.
Okay. You have a fairly extensive menu that I had a look at a couple of times when I go in and sit down. You don't make a lot of money on me, I just can see. I understand you serve different countries' food, like Chinese, Italian. You just expand on that a little?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, one of the people often ask us what we miss from Toronto, living in the big city and things like that, and really it's ethnic food. So we really enjoy trying to focus as many things as we can do that sort of are non-traditional around here, at least I guess in a historic sense. So yeah, we do like our banh mi, which is probably our most popular sandwich, is a Vietnamese-based sandwich. And we also do things like Cuban sandwiches again. Gets a little more Latin flair in there. What else? Yeah, and a lot of Asian food as well. Again, just a lot of things we miss from Toronto. Pho is very popular for us. So when we do that on sort of Friday night takeouts, was another thing we offer. That's very popular. We did a bunch of Chinese food actually. I think it was on Valentine's Day, which ended up being our best day ever. So that was fantastic.
Oh,
so,
good.
yeah, I mean, we weren't sure at first if the local community would sort of be open to those type of flavors, but it's been fantastic.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Is there a particular dish or special that is more popular than another?
I mean, our top selling sandwich by far is our banh mi. But when it comes to doing sort of more hot food and our takeout items, I'd say it's definitely things like pad thai. There's a few places you can get it around here, but it's not always consistent, sort of consistently available. So when we do offer that, it tends to be very popular. Yeah.
Okay. So you do provide takeout.
Yep.
Pre-ordered food. How does it work?
Sure. So on Fridays, usually typically maybe about a week out, usually about 5 days out, I'd say. Adonis will advertise what the item is going to happen to be, and that'll go on all of our social media links. It'll go on our website. People can just call ahead and put their order in, as many as they want, and then they pick it up on the actual Friday, usually between 4 and 6. Again, those hours will change as we sort of evolve the business. And yeah, you can some people pay ahead, but you can really just pay when you come. But we just like to know because of the quantities we're producing, some of the items we're doing aren't readily available. We just need to have a bit of a heads up so we can make sure we can make it for everybody. Yeah.
And you do provide special dinners for groups?
Absolutely, yeah. So groups of 8 or 10 people, and again, those can be geared to, we have set menus. If people aren't a big fan of something, or there's any sort of dietary concerns, we always take that into account for sure.
If I wanted to have a special dinner,
Yep.
how would I go about setting it up?
Sure, absolutely. First thing to do would be, I'd say, take a look at our website. You'll see under our menu page, you'll see our sort of featured menus for dinners. Maybe something there sparks your interest, or at least will give you an idea of sort of what we can make, what we make well, what the price range is, and then just give us a call. Let's pick a date. We'll see what works for your group, and then we can look at optimizing menu as well, because maybe some people in your group don't like a certain item. Great, we'll find something else out. Our desserts are pretty interchangeable, things like that. So,
is there a limit to the number of people in a group?
10 people. Yeah, 10 people would be our max, and that's just simply based on our seating and our fire marshal rules.
Okay. Now, when you order for a group, and I think you've answered this, but I just want to make it clear,
For sure.
is that you can have a selection of dishes?
Usually so. Yeah, sorry. Usually it'll be a multi-course meal. So 4 or 5 courses, depending on what your group is looking for. But we usually start with a soup and/or a salad, depending what it is, a main and dessert. And then now with the liquor license, there'll probably be some cocktails and stuff as well that are available for people. So
okay,
yeah.
And that's served at your location?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It's at the cafe. Another thing we offer to that point as well is like a corkage fee. So if our clients want to bring their own wine, we have no problem with that. Really, kind of, that's the thing. It helps the customers have sort of a cost-saving method, right? Bring your own bottle of wine. There's a small corkage fee. I think we charge $5, and that's again just more about just being able to offer that service.
Do you come to the home or cater to outside locations?
It becomes a little bit more difficult on dropping food off simply based on insurance rules and things like that. So our goal typically is to have people pick stuff up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you also mentioned that you do special types or special celebrations in the year, like Christmas and Thanksgiving and that type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. We do. We had a really great New Year's Eve last year, so we offered a bunch of just sort of appetizers. Adonis, and my wife, makes great sort of Chinese dumplings, so we sold a bunch of those. And again, things like dips. Just the idea is to focus on items that people may not prepare for themselves, and just sort of helps them get their meal going. And we'll be doing similar stuff this year as we get into the holidays. Just again, offering some ready to go appetizers, things like that, so people can just pick them up and head home.
Okay, so how would I set that up if I were going
Sure,
to do that?
Absolutely. Again, the website's always key, which is cafelessuetes.ca. And again, under our menu item, those won't be up just yet because we're not there, but as we get closer to the season, we'll put up those. And again, you'll just be able to call up or send us a note by email or on Facebook, whatever it happens to be, and just put your order in, and we'll make sure it's ready, and we'll figure out the time that works for you, and you can pick it up.
Okay. You seem to be doing well here. Has it reached or exceeded your expectations?
I think we're always shocked when there's quiet days. That's just the restaurant business, right? You might be busy for 3 days in a row, and then you'll have just a day where maybe 5 people come in or 10 people come in, right? So that's always just shocking, but we knew to expect it. We knew the margins weren't going to be big, so sometimes there's a lot of work, and you don't see a lot for it, but we've definitely enjoyed it, that's for sure. Okay. We've met so many people that have come in. It's been fantastic from that standpoint. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Besides getting organized for the winter sports, like I mentioned earlier, snowmobiling, things like that, do you have other plans for your cafe?
I think ultimately just we look at how it merges, how we morph the business. And is there things that we can do that offer experiences to people that are beyond just, just beyond a regular food. So wouldn't it be great one day to offer sort of like, lobster boils on the deck and things like that. So I think we'd like to try and expand it more from just food into services, and that's going to be a few years down the road.
Sure.
But ultimately, sure, the one thing a lot of people have here is land. So it's how do you sort of maximize that? Is it offering, camping sites? And I'm sort of spitballing here, but is there something else you can do with the property in terms of hiking and campfires out back and things like that? Who knows? But yeah, we're always trying to think of different things, but nothing's going to happen in the next year or two. But
one thing I've noticed when I was just in for tea is you use disposable utensils,
Yes.
and you use and containers as well.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason for that?
I mean, in the summertime, we do it simply just based on volume of customers. There's just my wife and I working at the cafe, so dishes can become cumbersome. We don't have a dishwashing machine, so we just have the standard 3-tier sink that you have to have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're making that change now. We've actually had a review recently where somebody mentioned it, and we're like, yeah, we get it. If you understand it from our side of things, it's why we do it. But yeah, you'll definitely see, obviously you come for a private dinner or one of our sort of evening meals, for sure, everything is served on plates and cutlery and wine glasses and things like that. But yeah, you'll see we're making that switch now. Even yesterday was the first day we started bring something out, some plates and things like that. But yeah, we'll definitely be making that switch, yeah, for sure.
At present, what are your open hours and days?
Yeah, right now we are open from 9 to 3, Wednesday through Monday. So just being closed on Thursday through Monday. We're closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., yeah.
And those times remain constant throughout the year?
During the sort of high season they do, but we'll probably look to change those hours. Last fall and sort of winter we did the same thing. We went from like 11 till 7 p.m., 6 p.m. We find the mornings are much quieter now that you don't have that sort of tourist traffic. We're not open early enough for people going to work and things like that. So again, probably switch more to like maybe 11 till 7, again, focusing more on dinner, take-home things, as well as, again, some cocktail evenings and things like that. But yeah, we're always morphing the business just to make sure we're following what our customers need, right?
Okay. You and your wife work hard.
Thank you.
What do you do for recreation?
Gardening, actually, was funny because it kind of turned out from being from a hobby into now almost like a necessity for the business. So, that's why we moved here. We like to be outside, I guess, is really where I was going with that. We try and be outside in the yard as much as we can. We have a couple of cats we put out on harnesses and leashes. They enjoy it. But yeah, we just get outside, hiking, walking around the area, gardening, things like that.
Okay.
I'm also in the fire department, so I spend some time there as well, which is great. Again, great way to sort of ingrain yourself into the community and help out and give back. So, we spent some time there as well.
Great. Before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I think just from Adonis and I, we just want to again say thanks to everybody in the community for helping us out, and again, just the community support's been fantastic, and we couldn't have asked for anything better. You always hear these stories from people from away not being accepted, and that has not been our experience at all. Everybody's been fantastic to us, so we really appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear, particularly for somebody who's on the other side of some of these comments sometimes.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for coming to tell us about Café Les Suetes, and we wish you and your wife every success in the future, and stay safe from those high winds.
We will. Thanks, Pat. I really appreciate it.
And thank you to our listeners. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you can stay up to date. And remember, subscribing to Highland Waves is free. Our thought for today is an Irish proverb. Laughter is loudest in the place where the food is. So long for now, Pat.